Hey guys, Youngblood with you. Now that 3.7 is in PTU, that means we can start talking about and showing off some of the new assets in the game. That includes one of the new Vanguard variants, and this one is the Harbinger. As you can see, there are still missiles underslung up in the shoulder mounts above the kind of wing nacelle looking things. You end up having missiles kind of tucked in there as well. On the outside, you can see that there is some different color scheme being a little bit more greenish. On the turret, you can see there's actually the rocket turret. There's almost 3 tubes with, it looks like 2 launchers per tube. Underneath, you have a couple more missiles. Now, one thing that's interesting here is you'll notice on the module in the middle, there's straps on one side and not on the other. That's because on the right-hand or starboard side of the ship, that's where the torpedoes actually drop out of when you start firing. And then as far as your weapons are concerned on this ship, I think what we thought we were going to be getting out of this was actually going to be a railgun on the nose. Or at least that's what I think a lot of us were hoping to get. And we were expecting to see that the quad lasers in the middle were going to match that, which was on the Vanguard itself. That being said, that's not actually the case. What we get is a gimbaled C-788 ballistic cannon, as well as what we have ballistic size 2 quad nose cannons. You'll also notice in the weapons or the missiles category, you have several of the size 3s, size 2s, size 2s, and then those size 5s that are listed are the ones that you're not going to see on the other Vanguard variants, the Stalkers. Those are the 3 torpedoes that you carry in the middle module of this ship. Another interesting distinction between these is when you start looking at the components that are on board the Harbinger. Like you would expect, it is primarily military components. There is a little bit of a blend. When you start looking at some of the other variants, that doesn't necessarily line up 100%. So there's a little bit more to this ship than just a different weapons loadout. You do start seeing a different quality of component as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the back side of the ship. You can see on either side of the cockpit area, you do have a couple of the module access areas. I believe these are coolers right here. So when you open them up, you can actually see the cooler that's in there. This is a step beyond what was in place for the existing Vanguard. So we are starting to see that development continues and those components are in here, which is exciting, especially when you start talking about just future gameplay. There we have a shield generator and a power plant. We have the same thing on the other side. I believe this one's just going to end up being storage for you. When you head back to the middle section, this is where you start getting a little bit more variety in the different options. Here you can see there is the torpedo view slot. One of my favorite little touches here is the Aegis logo with love, associating size 5 torpedo. I think that's pretty funny. There's some sort of rudimentary station there. It looks very old school, so I'm not really sure what the purpose of that is. But I think we'll eventually see some gameplay from it. Got a little kitchenette storage area. Here's your munitions rack, so your weapons racks if you're doing like a little ground invasion. Here's general storage. You can see they basically fit the exact same size. So I think you get some probably customization in that later. Here's your little toilet, so your shower and your toilet. I'm still having some issues with some of the interaction kind of hitboxes, so I'm not going to get the toilet out, but you can see where that's at. The back matches the Vanguard Warden basically to a T. And when we actually pull the turret down, I'll get up there. The actual turret itself is identical on the 3 Vanguards. What ends up being a little bit different is the weapons equipment that is actually on board. The turret on the Harbinger is the one that I've been the most excited about because while it may not look like a lot of fun to shoot, what it does is it gives you your dumbfire missiles. I will say that the switch fire mode right now does not work. You're always firing a salvo of 2. The rate of fire is pretty good, but this is what has gotten me most excited about actually hunting larger ships. If you start talking about the ability to bring dumbfire rockets, which tend to pack a more powerful punch than something like a missile, probably because there's a little bit more skill associated with it, I say this is starting to become really interesting for hunting things like a Freelancer, a Constellation, a Hammerhead, whatever it may be. There's a range of larger ships that become a little bit harder to do damage to, and as soon as you start getting weapons like rockets in place, or the C-788, which isn't that impressive of a weapon, but you get a size 5 railgun on there or something like that, and all of a sudden you can start doing a lot more damage. I will say that the ballistic quad nose gun feels really good compared to the the energy one that's on the Warden. So you can see it seems to fire off pretty good. It fires all in conjunction. Overall, I'm very happy with the Harbinger. I think it's off to a really good start. But we'll go ahead and do the next video on the Sentinel, and you'll get a chance to see what's now my favorite of the Vanguard series. So make sure you stay tuned for that. If you have any questions on this one, let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more, and have a good day. Take care.